Hi everyone, it's Joe here. Hope everyone's doing well. And today I want to make a video about a book I was reading recently called The Magic of Your Mind. Now this book was written by a student of Neville Goddard's actually. Her name's Louise Berlay. For those of you that might be interested, I will put a link down below. And basically I wanted to read this just purely because she's a student of Neville's and she's effectively taken the work that Neville did and Neville tried to teach throughout his years, and she wrote her own book with her discoveries. So basically, as I was listening on the way home from work today, I felt inspired to make this video. Something that she said in this book really struck a chord with me. So let's get to it. So the first chapter of this book is the creative process. And effectively the way she defines the creative process, I've got some notes here. So the creative process is activated by our beliefs, assumptions and self-identification, as well as imagination. Okay, so what does she really mean by that? Now, I made a video recently about our beliefs and our assumptions, so it's going to delve a little bit deeper into that. So our beliefs, what we believe to be true on a day-to-day basis is what we create in our lives. Okay, so when she says about beliefs, if you really delve deeper, if you use the technique that I delivered in the last video, then you might be familiar with this. If not, it's really what you're believing on a day-to-day basis, whether it be about yourself or certain circumstances in your current physical world. Okay, so if you believe that the job's too difficult to acquire, the specific person's too far away, if you believe that you can't attract money because you're not good enough, then ultimately these things are going to be the massive handbrakes on what you're trying to manifest. Okay, so beliefs, as I've said in the last video, are extremely important, and it's really important that we completely identify all our beliefs that have effectively made us up as people over the last year, 2 years, effectively a lifetime. It's an accumulation of beliefs that we've gathered over these years. So alongside that, you have assumptions. Very similar to beliefs, but assumptions are assumptions. They're effectively what you assume to be true. So alongside beliefs, Neville always said that what seems to be is to those it seems to be. So let's dissect that statement. What seems to be is effectively what you maybe see in reality and what you assume it to be. So if you assume that your specific person's with a third party, if you assume that someone else is better qualified for your dream job, or you're not qualified enough for your dream job, if you assume that money doesn't come very easily, then that's what you see. That's how life seems to be. And because that's how life seems to be, that's what it is to you. So that's ultimately your reality. So what you believe, what you assume, is ultimately what you create. Now, everyone, and myself included, did this for so long. What we assume and what we believe to be our present reality, what we see consciously on a day-to-day basis, what we believe is ultimately an accumulation of things that have happened in the past. Okay, we're almost conditioned that way to accept things that have happened as our current reality. But that's not living in the now, living in the moment, or even living in the end. We are so conditioned to believe that because bad things have happened, that's all we can create. Okay? What I mean by that is, if we can really understand that those things that have happened have no bearing or are, blockers in what we're trying to manifest, then we can understand them, we can acknowledge them, but then we can shift our attention to what we want to believe and what we want to assume. This, I believe, is where a lot of people fall down. They find it difficult to assume something that they can't physically see or touch at the moment. It doesn't seem physically tangible. It doesn't seem believable. This is where people get stuck living, consciously, and everything they see with their conscious mind is assumed to be reality. But everything can change in the blink of an eye. Everything can change. Now, of course, Neville speaks about things having their own appointed hour, which is also true. But when we start to assume, when we start to believe what we want to believe in alignment with what we're trying to manifest, That's what gets the ball rolling, okay? We plant the seed with imagination. We see it in imagination. We see it to be real. We use all the senses in imagination. It feels real. At that point, we then align with beliefs and assumptions which are in alignment with what we've seen in imagination. So for instance, if we use the example of trying to manifest a dream job, we've went to the end, we've used the scene of maybe shaking the new boss's hand, we've been congratulated by friends and family, at which point we then consciously assume that we have that job. How do we do that? We assume that we start to believe, that we are worth that job, that we are in that job, that we are really good at doing that job. We assume that we are good enough at doing that job, that we are competent, that we're successful, that the boss loves us, that all these different things, okay? Specific person as well. We go right to the very end and we maybe imagine getting married to that person, we maybe imagine having a family, we maybe imagine hearing a friend congratulate us on being married, whatever it may be. At that point we start to believe, oh, such and such is really in love with me, such and such is crazy about me, such and such can't wait to see me whenever I'm away, they can't stop thinking, all these little things. These are all little beliefs and assumptions that we accumulate. Now, if we repeat them without feeling, we're not really getting anything from it. So it's important to really feel how that would feel were that a present day fact. Okay? What we do is we feel because we assume things that have happened, and we feel it because we believe it to be reality. Okay? We feel first before we believe. In this we're kind of trying to flip the script. We make the assumption and then we consciously try and go to how that would feel. And when it feels good, feels great, then we start drilling it in. We start assuming that is the case, that everything we're trying to manifest, that is the case. Okay, so I hope I've made that kind of clear. And the third step that Louise talks about is self-identification. Now, this ultimately is self-love, which I go on about, everyone goes on about, and I know a lot of people don't really want to do this work, it's tiring, you think, oh, why am I looking after myself? People might think they're just becoming self-sufficient. That's exactly what's happening. We have to become self-sufficient and love ourselves. We have to know that we are worth anything we want, that we can attract anything we want, irrespective of anything that may have happened, that we may believe may happen. We have to believe that we're good enough and that we are gods within to attract anything that we want, okay? That's the most important part here. It's how we see ourselves and how we identify with ourselves. We can't manifest a specific person whilst we see ourselves in a space of being unloved and being insecure and being unwanted. It's not going to happen. It's not in alignment with what we're trying to attract into our lives and what we're assuming is true. Okay? You would never attract a specific person whilst you believed you were never good enough to attract that person in the first place. It's a complete mismatch. The same goes with a job. You're never going to attract a job if you don't believe that you can do that job, that you are meant for that job, that job's meant to find you, or anything like that. It's not going to happen, okay? So how we see ourselves is crucial. It's the third most important part of this, is how we see ourselves. If we don't see ourselves as good enough, then we're never going to be able to attract anything. If we don't see ourselves as the master of our own reality, that we can create anything we want, then none of this is going to work, okay? How do we get to that state? We effectively self-love meditations. We see ourselves, we maybe repeat to ourselves, we affirm, I'm loved, I'm loved, I'm loved, I'm wanted, I'm secure, all these things. If we repeat it without feeling that, it's never going to go in. The subconscious is never going to believe it, okay? That's the whole point of meditation. We open up the subconscious and then we start affirming. But if we don't put a feeling or attach a feeling to that, we're never going to be able to impress the subconscious with the belief that we are loved. We're going to come out of that meditation after 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever it may be, and we're going to think, I've not done enough, I still don't feel loved, okay? We have to get to that feeling. That feeling place is really what creates Dan speaks about it, Anya speaks about it, everyone says we need to get to that feeling place, okay? Now, I'm going to be making a video soon about how to feel in the end and what that represents. That'll be a video coming up soon. But this is mainly, I just wanted to speak about this, about the beliefs and assumptions and how important they are, okay? And I'll say the quote again, what seems to be is to those it seems to be, okay? What we want to attract, we need to start believing and assuming that 1, we have it, 2, we're good enough to get it, and 3, that it's ours, okay? I've said that we have it, but we have to believe and assume that we are worth, that we can attract anything, that we are in control of our own lives. If we keep going about a day-to-day life accepting the current physical reality or accepting circumstances, then you're never going to be able to attract anything. So I'll put a link down below for this book, for the audio book of this. It's been a great listen so far. I'm finding it fascinating. I'll put a link down below, and I'll also, if you liked it, subscribe, comment, all those good things. My email is going to be in the description as well. And I hope this has been useful. And thanks again, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video. Take care.